Recorded live with little or no editing. It's Defense Up. I'm Run 7. How you doing? So, if you clicked on the link because you saw Ravagers and you were excited, I just want to let you know that's a bonus team at the end, and it's just kind of for fun. So you're getting an extra defense up, but I got to advise you right off the bat, because I hate clickbait stuff, don't be building Ravagers on defense. There is absolutely no place for them anywhere in this game. All right. If you've never been here before, you can check down below for the teams that we're going to be going over, so you can just grab the slider. It's up here in the window, and you can just drag it till you see them and skip ahead if you like. Otherwise, we grade on 5 different things. It's who you're using, their placement, their power levels, their ISOs, and what kind of mood I'm in. Now, if you can tell by the sound of my voice, I am going almost a month with, I think, my second head cold at this point, and I sound like Marlboro Maggie or something, you know?
Camels are for pussies. I smoke nothing but Marlboros.
Anyway, so I apologize for the cracky voice. We're going to get through this fast today. And if you guys ever want to catch me live on stream, I stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays on Twitch, 9 to noon on the West Coast. So, jumping into team number 1, Hamdingo of the Alliance Gods of Midgard has got this thing going on right here. Now, to me, this appears that he's got some leftover tunes and he's just putting something together. Like, he's got a moderate investment in all of these, and so he just wants to use them to fill a slot. And that's what you should be doing if you can't make appropriate defenses, is just put in the biggest stuff that you're not going to be using on offense. Now, let's see if there's any kind of synergy with this team. So, of course, we have Coulson and Yo-Yo, and they have some synergy. We see those on some bigger defenses with like Black Bolt and Surfer and Deathpool sometimes, or Crystal. But instead of that, he's got a little bit of the defenders going on over here. Now, what I would like to see is, I'd like to see this being used on Shadowlands, this being used on Skilletary, JJ thrown on the bench, and replace this team with the appropriate fill-ins. We are probably going to start seeing the end of this hybrid team at the high end that uses Black Bolt and Surfer and Crystal, because a lot of people are now taking those. If you've seen Mr. Hartgrave's videos, they're taking those Black Bolt and Surfer with the new Warriors, and that team is tearing it up on offense. Now, of course, it's a bunch of heavyweights, so it should, but rather than using those two guys on defense, they're taking them onto offense and putting together something else. But this is what we're working with. JJ is a skirmisher. You got to get a war ready. I think Daredevil is a raider because he's bouncing around all over the place, and I think Punisher is a striker on that Skilletary team, so you could take him up to war ready levels with the skirmisher tag. Yo-Yo is a skirmisher on the defense that she has been used on previously, the one with Black Bolt and stuff. She should probably be a level 5 skirmisher to make sure that those offense downs are sticking on the enemy turn. Also, Coulson is a raider, 100% raider. He needs to crit. He's got crit built into his kit. He does lots of explosive damage real fast up front, and you got to just get him to hit hard fast. So change those ISOs. I wouldn't worry so much about messing with this team because it's obviously just a filler team. I hope you didn't specifically build this team, but you might consider getting at least like these two and her. Well, everybody but JJ should be war ready. JJ is going to go on the bench. She just doesn't have a purpose right now. As a filler team, I mean, you're just throwing stuff in here. If this is just a filler team, then yeah, it's a B. I think you could do better with other people, but you're not necessarily doing anything wrong so far, other than I don't like this ISO and this ISO, so maybe a B minus. You got to get those things changed, but you haven't over-invested. You haven't wasted any resources testing them out as strikers, so there we go. That's on that one. Switch it up, but yeah, when you get going on this game, you're going to start building those other teams up a little bit more. Team number 2 is a Hero Brawler or Young Avenger hybrid. I really like Ghost Rider on the Hella Natural or Supernatural team. He does good work there. I don't think he should be used on this team. I also like Captain Marvel on other teams. Specifically defense, but she is being power crept a lot. She does work well on this team because she's a brawler and she gets to, you know, pop off those skirmishers. You do have the correct ISO skirmisher in all strikers with brawlers, so you're getting the best value out of this. Again, it looks like more of a filler team. You don't have the other tunes available to fill out like the Supernatural or some kind of an Avenger hybrid or something with Captain Marvel, or a military team, I should say. And Captain Marvel doesn't have the Avenger tag. I keep thinking she does. Black Panther, this is probably the best place for Black Panther because the Wakandans are worse than the Hero Brawlers, but not by much. I mean, they're really both bench teams. This is just something to fill. But, you know, for the investment that you already have in here, like you've kind of overinvested in most of these characters, other than maybe Ghost Rider. Make them war ready and keep the team as it is. If you happen to have the opportunity to build up your Hella Natural team, then get Ghost Rider out of here. Put in somebody like Miles or regular Spider-Man. They work. You could throw in Wolverine in here in the short term because he's a brawler and he's a hero, so he fits on this team. Plus, he's got a little bit more speed. There's nobody else to add to this team that has that Weapon X stat to really boost Wolverine, so he's still going to be kind of slow on this, even though they gave him a little bit more speed in the workaround. So again, I think this is kind of like a C team. I think you need to make him war ready for this team to pop off. And I'd like to see you scrap it and put in a better defense, but you're starting out and you're just filling a slot. So I'm going to give you a C for it. Actually, I'm going to give you a C plus for it. I like where you're going. Just get it war ready and I can give you a B. Excuse me. So over here we have Hydra 1.0. Hydra 1.0 is a great team. For defense, it fluctuates in its viability. Sometimes it's not a good team to be using, and then other times you want to put it in there to draw out certain offenses. I like this team because you can put pretty much any kind of ISOs on it that you want. You can play around and see how it works. I personally like to put fortifiers on all the minions and sometimes Red Skull too, because they die and revive, and they're the type of tune that's going to get the most value out of a fortifier kit. However, if you want to put the technically correct ISOs, then you're pretty much doing it right. You've got fortifier on this tank, which is a great one for him. You've got Raider over here. I believe that's Trooper, right? Or Rifle Guy, whatever. Because he's spraying all over the place. You can also do Striker just for the increased damage, because whenever he respawns, he sprays everybody with his machine gun. Something to do. You got Healer on the Scientist guy, and then the Sniper is a Skirmisher or a Striker. Striker also works for him. He hits pretty hard for a minion. But Skirmisher's good for him too, and then you got Striker on Red Skull, which is fine. Again, whatever, it doesn't matter on the ISOs. Make sure you get them up to war ready levels, so you got 3 more to go on this. And this 350, this is actually something that people have to deal with it. You can't just throw in junk and take it out because of that cheeseball mechanic. So I like what you're doing here. I'm going to give you an A- on this team because I want to see you tap up these to war ready levels. Team number 4 is... what's going on here? Okay, so this is leftover trash. You're using the pieces of your Asgardians that are left over. You've got some 2 plug and plays in here. Ghost, the Pimtech team sucks, so you've got Ghost on her own. Hopefully didn't build the rest of that team. Doc Ock, same thing. The OG Sinister Six team really sucks, and it's a liability for him, and he can be better used on a hybrid like this. You've got some tech synergy going on. I like that. These guys don't really fit in here at all, but you've got a heavy investment into them, so you're trying to get some value, so this is okay. Again, this is just filling some spots with stuff that's already been invested in. I'd like to see something like maybe Minerva and Ultron in here, because then you'd have some villain tech synergy going with Ultron. They'd all be tech. Maybe you could take Doc Ock off of here, put Vision in here so they spawn with defense up. It's an option. Doc Ock still works good, but you don't need Doc Ock adjacent to Sif and Ghost. In fact, it should be the opposite. He should be adjacent to Star-Lord and Heimdall, because Sif is a tank. She's tough. She's usually the last one to die. Ghost jumps around. I always call her Dodgy McDodgy Pants or some stupid thing that I always call her because she jumps around so much. I think we're doing good. Star-Lord is usually a striker in other comps, but you might be using him as a skirmisher to get more value out of your strikers. Heimdall is traditionally a raider. I don't know if you're specifically trying to make this team work or if these are just leftover ISOs from a different build. Healer on Sif is right. Healer on Doc Ock is right. I don't think it's really worth. I mean, Star-Lord, you haven't overinvested in his ISO yet, so you should probably change that to a striker if you're going to start building him up at all. But you shouldn't. I mean, he's past his prime. Let's see what happens with. They got a new Guardians of the Galaxy video game coming out, and I think they've got a movie coming out on the horizon here. So maybe he will get a touch up in the future, but I doubt it. So I wouldn't really invest any more into him. Ghost is correct, but this one should be a raider. I don't see much value in him as a striker other than just the damage, boost, but we'll see. I mean, this is kind of a mishmash. There's not a lot of synergy, but you're trying not to waste stuff, so I'm just going to give it a C. Maybe a C minus. I would like to see some better ISOs in there. And then, of course, none of them are war ready except for Doc Ock. All right, team number 5 is Wave 1 Avengers with the classic build. I'd like to see a little bit more power in your Captain America, maybe a Hulk too. You want them to try and resist the stuns and blinds. With the new adjustments to war, that extra 10%, this team is actually getting a lot tougher to make those negative effects stick. So it's worth it putting a little bit more investment into those two. You got Striker, Skirmisher here, Raider on him. These are perfect ISOs, perfect placement. Touch up that power. I think you're going to have a really good team here. I think that's an A minus. 6 is the She-Hulk Fantastic Four team. You have the correct placement. You've got the correct ISOs. You could change her to a skirmisher. A lot of people like her as a healer. I prefer skirmisher. I like it when it's 2 and 2. You got 2 strikers, 2 skirmishers. Oh, I see what you got. You got these 2 as skirmishers and these 2. Okay. So yeah, I would put her as a skirmisher and Johnny as a striker. Johnny's got a lot of damage and he puts out bleeds and stuff, so you want him getting those double taps, the extra damage and stuff like that. This is okay though. She does a clear with her assist combo, so this is probably the secondary way to go. If you want to keep her as a healer, then you're gonna want Johnny as a skirmisher. So this is pretty good. You need to get these 2 as war ready. It's a nice investment. I think a little over 400,000 is good. And if you touch up this She-Hulk and make her just like take her to 14, and this team really can screw people up. And it's because of She-Hulk and how she interacts with negative effects. They have to come into it with a team that throws out positive, that doesn't do negative effects. Yeah, I think you're on the right path here. Like I said, my preference is to change those ISOs. However, this is pretty good. I'm going to give you an A minus for that one too. I think you're doing pretty good there. 7 is a Mercs team. Okay, skirmisher, strikers all around. You're keeping him as a raider. Probably just don't want to spend the investment to change that up. That's okay. You got enough strikers on the field to get some pretty decent value out of here. I like that your power levels are all in the ballpark. Your lieutenant is going to be a liability against a big X-Force team. God, we got too many X teams. He still might get knocked below 50% with that X-Force team, but you're right on the cusp of this not being effective for X-Force. So I think if you build this guy up, X-Force is going to have a lot of trouble with this, and then you're going to see him coming down to skilletary, in which case you're going to want to start replacing. Wow, you got a good investment in Bullseye there, don't you? You're going to probably want to replace either Killmonger or Bullseye with an Ultimus, but again, that's kind of an investment, so maybe just touch this guy up and leave the team. I think you'll be doing good. Get these 2 war ready and you're good to go. So there is a B+ on that. Team number 8. Doom hybrid stuff going on here. Okay, so you got Shuri in here in the hopes that RNG, it's got like a 1 in 5 chance that Doom will get the energy and pop off on his first turn. That's okay. And then you've got Red Guardian drawing the taunt in the beginning, and if they get through Red Guardian somehow, he's going to taunt when somebody else goes under. So this is a formidable defense. This is a really good use. Like, you already have a huge investment in this guy, so this is a great team to be utilizing. Not a lot of people have shield security built up, and it's not worth it to build him up, but if you already have him, this is a great option for people to use. Minerva's reviving people if you kill them, so you actually have to clear taunts, put out disrupts, you have to ability block a lot. Like, this is actually a really formidable team. I like it. There's ways to beat this, of course, like a Hella Zemo team can do some wonders on this. But man, this is not something I would approach lightly. I like what you're doing here. You're war ready. You've got healer, 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 and striker. I would put somebody, I would change somebody, probably going to be shield security, change him to a skirmisher in the hopes that you get a vulnerable on the field and get a little bit of value out of Doom. But of course, he's a level 3 striker and you don't want to put level 3 blue ISO on him. So yeah, maybe just leave him as a healer. It's probably not worth changing, but I hate seeing a level 3 striker go to waste when you don't have the corresponding level 3 skirmisher to put out the double vulnerable for this character. But it's okay. I mean, you're still getting that damage increase, so I think it's a fantastic build. But to be honest, I don't think you should do anything different or change anything or add anything to it. I think there are better defenses to build, but since if you had this guy built up already, I think this is the way to go on your roster. So good job. I'm going to give you an A for that one. It's a really good, yeah, it's something we don't see a lot too, so I like that. Team number 9 is an Emmarauders classic build, good placement, proper ISOs. You've got her as a striker. That's to clear some positive effects. She's traditionally a healer, but striker also works. I'm not even going to dock you for it. I think it's pretty good. I'm going to give you an A for that one. Moving on to number 10 is the Heroes for Hire, of course, in the last slot. Now you've got some blue ISOs on these. I'd like to see the whole team in the blue ISO if you're going to go nuts, because man, this is huge right here. That's a huge team. If you are a person who doesn't have your Heroes for Hire built up yet, I always recommend just get them to 400 and leave them, because the sun's setting on this team with Weapon X. They're going to get crushed here pretty soon, so you don't want to overinvest. But also, some of these characters like Colleen Wing and Shang Chun or Shang Tsung or Shredded Cheese, whatever his name is, they're good for some other game modes. I personally don't use them, but I do see the value. There is a good argument to be made for raising these two characters up and using them in other game modes, specifically like City Heroes. Also, she's tech, and some people are using her in the Doom raids and stuff. Not my favorite. I don't use any of them for anything. I keep mine at 400. I don't care about this team. I don't like it. It's a cheeseball mechanic, kind of like the Hydra thing that I don't really like, and we're being sold the solution just like Scopely loves to do. However, Raider, Striker, Skirmisher, Healer, Fortifier. You can also run Iron Fist as a Skirmisher, but I prefer him as a healer. I think you're doing a fantastic job with this team. If you want to, since you've already put blue ISOs on these three, you might want to consider putting some blue ISOs over here just for the heck of it. Super scary team. Good job. You get an A for that one. All right. And for the coup d'etat here, the extra credit, this one is coming out of Hamdingo's alt account. Thank God it's not his primary. The Alliance Heroes Reborn. Apparently his Alliance Heroes Reborn hates him for doing this, but he doesn't care because it's his alt account. But check this out. He's got blue ISOs on this Ravagers, and before we did this, Chat and I had to go through and figure out how to correctly put ISOs on this team. Now, what's his name here? Kingpin is so incredibly slow. It doesn't matter what ISO you put on him. There's a case to be made for Fortifier because it's probably the only one that's going to get any value at all. He probably won't even take a turn in the match. But if you're going to build him up, I guess maybe go healer. I guess he might take one turn. I don't know. Over here on Stitcher, we went with healer, so you're on the right track there. I mean, it kills me to see blue ISO on this team. Do not build this team. Okay, Ravager Bruiser, we decided should actually be a healer. He is relatively speaking, he's tough to get through. And so having him give a chance to throw out some heals, and he has some healing built into his kit. It's like 5% or something ridiculous. So giving him the heal thing will bring that up substantially. Oh my God, it hurts giving out this advice right now. This is terrible. Okay, and Boomer, We want Boomer as a striker. He hits so hard we should do it twice. There's a case to be made for Raider because he has technically it's an AoE, it's an area of effect attack, but it's just the one. So we like him for striker. And then we want Yondu as a skirmisher. He could also be a raider, but we like him as skirmisher because he does have a clear positive effect on his counter assist. And you want the focus boost to clear the positive effect, not the counter assist part. So you could make a case for him as a striker for that reason, but then you'd have to have somebody else as a raider or a striker to get those vulnerables on the field. So I like him as a skirmisher. This is such a horrible team. It's so terrible. It kills me to see this near 900 investment. Thank God this is your all account. It cracks me up to see this. I understand your alliance probably hates you for this, but they must have a shortage of players, because if you were in my alliance and I saw you putting blue ISO on this, I'd be knocking on leadership's door saying, hey, we got to get rid of this guy. Yeah, this is like the worst possible thing you could ever do in war defense is build your Ravagers up. But if you want to have fun in this game, and fun is kind of hard to find these days, this is the kind of crap you got to pull. And it's something to do if you just want to waste your time. So, you know, I applaud you for having some fun, Hamdingo. I am very glad that you're not doing this on your primary account. I hope you didn't spend money to do this. That would really be playing into Scopely's hand. But it looks like you're enjoying yourself and your alliance is not enjoying you too much. Oh my God, Ravagers on defense. All right, if you like what you saw, hit like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. You can find links in the description if you want to have your defense posted up here on Defense Up. We do these twice on Tuesday, twice on Thursday, and then they appear on YouTube throughout the week. So I appreciate you guys showing up. Don't just have a good game, be good to yourselves and each other's too, and I will catch you next time. Bye.